an inmate at the Douglas County Jail. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. To prevent calls from this facility, press 9. This
we got to get out of the road, babe.
Corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. For more information about our privacy policy, please visit www.connectnetwork.com. After the beep, press 5 to accept this call. This call is from a corrections facility and is subject to monitoring, recording, and the location of your phone will be obtained. Stay on the line to accept this call. Thank you for using GTL.
I don't consent to recording of this call. Hi.
Hey, mate. Dorothy is asking if you plan on appealing, and she wanted my fax number, which I don't really have a fax number, but I got one just to get her something that she can use. But I thought I would relay the question. I don't know if that's a. Anyway, she is a.
Yes, yeah. And one of the main factors is this. The Constitution requires that you have a jury of your peers, that you be provided due process, and that the jury has the power to decide the facts and law. Well, in my case, the judge denied me a right to a jury of my peers. These were all Europeans that were all government employees, and they were all handpicked, preloaded from the very beginning. They put me here in Omaha instead of out west, where the jury would have been farmers and ranchers and people that were supporters of the Constitution and the Second Amendment. I've got a Clinton appointee judge. Judge Gerard was appointed by Bill Clinton. I've got a jury of primarily Democrats that are anti-gun, mostly women, and virtually all of them, I guess, were government employees. But aside from that, the judge denied the jury the right to determine the facts. The Constitution requires that the jury determine the facts, and the fact that he refused to let them determine was my status as an ambassador. He doesn't have that constitutional authority to do that, because the fact is that, as their own statute says, irrespective of recognition by the United States, I am an ambassador just by the notification by the state or the country that I'm assigned to, irrespective of recognition by the United States. And they can't wrap their mind around that. But right now there's an article in the Omaha World Herald, today's paper, in the Midlands section. It's about they're challenging this guy, a conviction on death row, for this very fact, because they talk about the Supreme Court has ruled that the lower courts cannot take away the right of the jury to determine the facts. And in his case, apparently that's what they did. The jury couldn't decide the elements of the death penalty. So in this case they had before me, they did not let the jury decide whether or not they viewed me as an ambassador, by which the court would have had no jurisdiction whatsoever. Which it's really not a case for a jury to decide. The Constitution clearly says all matters involving ambassadors goes before the Supreme Court. It doesn't say that only if the United States recognizes you or if a court recognizes you as an ambassador. It says all ambassadors, period. That's blanket. There's no qualifications for that. By virtue of the Chilcote Nation's notification that I'm their ambassador, that's it. Also, in the paper today, I've got a little bit of wind in myself from these two little things I found. There's an article to the Washington Post, Bureaucratic Power Made Lesson, and it looks like Trump, McConnell, and Grassley are working on this issue where basically they're going to reduce this doctrine where the bureaucrats have been effectively creating law by passing policy. Unelected officials are passing policies that effectively take away our God-given, constitutionally recognized rights, such as, let's say you've got a farm and you're going to build a barn out on your farm, and they come out there and find that there's a certain plant growing there wild, and they claim that it's a threatened species. Well, these bureaucrats can stop you from building your barn. So they're looking at eliminating the power of these bureaucrats that they've basically hijacked this country. And as one guy here told me, he says, Mike, they view you as a virus because what you're spreading is truth and freedom. and that's contagious.
Isn't that what they call the
And
Bundys?
it's like,
Yeah, they call the Bundys a virus too. I mean, people that think like you do and believe men should be free and we shouldn't live under tyranny, you are a virus to them. That's absolutely true.
What made them think that the gun was yours?
do what?
What made them think that the gun was yours?
Oh, the guy that originally purchased it was there to testify. He claimed that he sold it to me. And what happened is he did sell me a gun. I don't know if it was that gun. It looks like that gun. It could be that gun. But I traded the gun that I bought from him, if it be that one, to a friend of mine less than a year later. I had a friend of mine come out and bale hay for me, and I didn't have money to pay him, and I gave him the gun. I hadn't seen whichever gun it was, and, you know, irregardless, I didn't have a gun in the plane. Now, how it got there, it obviously wasn't there the day I landed, because I guarantee you the FBI and the sheriff searched that plane.
Right.
Them claiming they did, and that's a lie. I had asked the question, if you walk by the plane, you can see in the photo that where they claimed the rifle was, all you got to do is look in the window and you could see the thing. And they claimed they walked around and looked in the window. They could have seen that black gun bag very clearly, easily. And anybody that's a pilot knows, in that very back compartment on a Piper Cherokee, you don't put any weight back there because it throws the CG off. And if you had, you know, a rifle with all those attachments that thing had on it, and 800-something rounds of ammunition, that would have probably been about 30 pounds worth of, you know, stuff right there. That you don't put that much weight back there.
It sounds like, you know, we live in a society that absolutely worships law enforcement. They can never do anything wrong. And Aaron and I talked about this last night, but they should suffer a bigger punishment when they do wrong, but they never get held accountable. And because our society worships law enforcement, when they do something wrong, like plant evidence or lie or, you know, entrap people, they just, the juries never believe that they can do anything wrong. So innocent people end up going to prison all the time.
Right. Well, the fact is that if I would have had a rifle there intentionally, it would not have been a crime, because I have been appointed as an ambassador, and as such, I do have diplomatic immunity. And that being the transport of the Chilcote Nation would have been immune from search. But beyond that, I didn't have a rifle.
Yeah.
And I don't know who put it there. I didn't put it there.
Mike, another question, and I pray that God lets you out of there before this phone call ends. I pray that God lets you out of there and opens up the door, and I pray that all the evildoers get held accountable and with justice from God. But let me ask you this: the worst case scenario, and I hate to think like this, but I'm not trying to. But what's the worst case scenario we're looking at? Are you looking at 10 years, 15 years? What do you know? What the possible worst case scenario is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I know that as I've been told, that people like me that they view that are threats because I don't recognize the authority of the court, they can do an upward enhancement of virtually anything they want. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm focused on exposing and beating this. I noticed there was nothing in the newspaper today or yesterday about my case. There's nothing on the news media about it, so there's a silence that they don't want. But here's the thing. When I got that U.S. attorney, U.S. Marshal to take the stand, he said his name was Mark Anderson, and he lied. And I noticed before he testified, before the jury came out, he's talking to the judge. So the judge knows this guy's name is Kent Dorfram, or whatever it is, Dorfram. Anyway, I gave you this name yesterday, I guess, but the guy committed perjury on the stand, and the judge knows it and does nothing about it. And then the guy assaults me in the courtroom, and I asked the judge for the video about it and to ask the U.S. attorney to arrest him and have him brought up on charges of assaulting an ambassador of another country, which they know we've already covered the statutes. That's a crime. This is a rogue court. This judge is a pirate. He has hijacked our country's courts. He has stolen the freedoms of we the people by throwing the Constitution and the treaties there too out the window. He's operating under tyranny, where he has basically declared that the law is whatever he says the law is. It's whatever other judges have said their opinion is. It has nothing to do with the Constitution and the treaties that we, the people, have created to protect our rights and engage in, communications and trade with other nations.
Yeah.
So people need to wake up and rise up and start speaking out about this. And, if I can get the State Department and Trump to recognize me, that would stop this. But short of that, I don't have any hope in any of these lawyers. They're all working for the same communist organization, the Bar Association. And I made that clear. I was denied the right to handle this matter on my own. I asked the judge, what rules are you under? How do you claim jurisdiction? And how do you claim that the United States of America has standing? I'm telling you that it doesn't. You have to show me how they've got standing and how you've got jurisdiction, because I'm an ambassador. This is not an Article 3, Section 2 United States Supreme Court. You don't have jurisdiction, and I don't consent or confer jurisdiction to you.
Yeah.
Oh, this letter from Trader, this guy's a moron. When we bought our farm, it had already assigned to it, been on it for 20 years, and I found out about it only after we bought the farm. There's nothing I can do to stop it. They said if I wanted to stop that contract with the government, it's a CRP where they pay you like $800 a year to not grow cotton on a certain amount of acreage. Well, if I wanted to get out from underneath that, I would have had to pay back 20 years worth of program funding, so about $25,000 is what I would have to pay to get out of it. So I had to wait 5 years, and they would send a check for $800 every year, and at 5 years I didn't renew. Well, 4 years later, they called me and said, we need you to fill out the census form for your farm. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Well, you got to. You're under a program. I said, no, I'm not under any program.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
They tried to get me under a program. I said, nope, I'm not. And finally, after an hour of debate, the guy finally said, I'm going to give you one last opportunity. Will you fill out the census form? I said, no. He said, okay, never mind. And I haven't heard from them since. Also, this Trader guy mentions in your letter that I ran for office before Langston shot at me. Well, yeah, that's what I said. I ran for office. Then Langston shot at me when I'm suing to void the election because they flipped the votes.
It's never been unclear to me. It's always been clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that he finally admits in writing that he is an atheist. Now, if he'll only admit he's Luciferian and that he hates the Constitution and America, then we'll just know that he's a pure D Nazi, and maybe we can get him to acknowledge further deeds that he's doing, like other things to infiltrate and destroy this country.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Mike, know that we care about you and we love you, and
Thank you for using GTL.
Oh God. I was going to tell him, and I didn't get a chance to tell him, that these phone calls are costing like $6 a freaking phone call. And given we don't know how long the Lord's going to tarry and the Lord's going to keep him in prison or allow him to be in prison, I've got to limit these things. I tried to pick it up as much as I could while it's going through trial, and I know it sounds terrible, but the trial's over with now, and I'll try to pick up at least one phone call a week, and I might do a little bit more just in the near term, but I can't do a $6 phone call every freaking day. That's like $200 a month. So anyway, I hate this freaking criminal justice system. I hate the private for-profit prison systems. I hate how they try to rape and pillage anybody who wants to communicate with these prisoners, and I pray God's justice, God's divine justice on every wicked reprobate involved in this satanic system, that you will get what's coming. God Almighty is going to bring justice to every one of you, and I need to settle down, but there will be no tears shed from my eyes when you guys get thrown in the lake of fire.